So, the big question is Cody going to be able to turn this ship around? Or do they even want to turn the ship around? Is this one big whole work that he actually is going heel, and this is just part of that transition? Because it was a very mixed crowd, and his promo was pretty mixed within itself. So, interesting here, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think about Cody at this point.
I don't know if they know what they want you to think about Cody at this point. I think that this is one of those things to where if the crowd turns on him enough, maybe they'll have him go heel without him actually really changing who he is, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
Where it's more, you turned on me, I didn't turn on you, but since you hate me anyway...
Right. So it's really kind of all over the place. I mean, let's go down the road of he wants to keep himself as a babyface. If that is the case, he is very unaware of why the crowd has started to turn on him. He is so unaware. Well, he was aware enough not to wear a flashy suit down to the ring, but he wasn't aware enough not to do his ridiculous over-the-top entrance coming up in the middle, being, rising from under the stage. He wasn't aware enough not to do that part.
Yeah. Yeah, and did you notice the last match he had, he was wearing black tights. He wasn't wearing his colorful tights.
What was the last match?
They were black.
The one he had with Malachi?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what he was wearing for that match.
He had black tights. Instead of, the last, I don't know, year or so, he's been wearing, those blue tights with the stars and whatnot on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They were black.
So, I mean...
I don't know if there's some symbolism there.
Right.
But, everything else he does, there's meaning behind what he does.
Typically, yes. So it's really kind of... I'm not sure if this is coming on purpose or if he's just really unaware of why the crowd is turning on him. And I cannot decide what is what. And as you said, I'm not sure they can decide it either. I mean, this could have all gone back to, and it was actually funny called out this week, his awful decision to put a tattoo on his neck. That was just dumb. I have no idea why he did that. I mean, if you have one tattoo and it's a small one on your chest, neck tattoo is not the next step.
Yeah. There's a reason that, a lot of people, even if they have a lot of tattoos, they're all in places that can be covered up.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to cover a neck tattoo.
Yes. If I'm wearing regular, business attire, my tattoos are covered.
Yeah.
It's and then just you get the backlash from Brandy as well. People don't like her, and I'm not sure if she is unaware of the reason why people don't like her. It's because she's unqualified, not because she is acting like a heel. It's because she's not good at wrestling. She's fine with promos and she's fine being at Cody's side, but she is just tone deaf otherwise.
Yeah, and I don't know, how qualified or not qualified she is to be the brand officer for the company. But all the behind the scenes stuff, it seems like, people are qualified for what they're doing. But yeah, like it's the same reason that people really hate the McMahon children.
I had to look it up because I was pretty sure it was the case. She actually has a master's degree in broadcast journalism.
Okay.
So I put her in probably the qualified to do PR type of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Which would be what a brand manager would probably do. So
yeah,
that is probably something she is qualified for. But yeah, I don't know. It's really strange how this is all playing out. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to turn this ship around. They're going to have to work pretty hard. And the promo that he did today, we'll get into the details of it, I don't think helped. If anything, it may have hurt some more. So we'll see. I'm not sure the right way to go to get him back to the babyface side. I mean, there's obviously some things, Brandy's got to get the hell out of there and not be a part of. She can't be doing heel stuff if he's trying to be a babyface.
Yeah.
So you got that, and
we did have a very fun main event, and then 2 just utter squash matches.
Yes, actually, one was a really, really fun squash match, though. All right, so we'll get into the nitty gritty here. You're listening to That's Wrestling Podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do the show live on Twitch and on YouTube. You can follow the links in the show notes for those. You can also follow the link to our Discord. Come hang out and chit chat. And you can follow us over on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1 with the number 1. Our tweet game is not strong, but I do tweet out when we're going live and all that fun stuff. And you can follow Darryl W. Perry at Darryl W. Perry. So he's pretty easy to find. And his stuff is in the show notes as well, though.
Wonderful.
You haven't been on for a while, so you're finally back.
I missed one show, I think.
I think you missed... Oh, yeah, because I was on vacation, so we went late. So, yeah, you're right. Never mind. You just missed last week.
Yeah, so... We were late once, and then because of the
Saturday Dynamite
schedule of we've got baseball or whatever it was.
Yep.
Yeah, but I believe they said they're back on Wednesdays until further notice, and then January they move from TNT to TBS. So
right,
hopefully no more. Moving around.
Yeah, but same time slot, TBS, TNT. Everybody who has TNT has TBS. So, I mean, it's not really like a really big deal. And even the
more people have TBS than have TNT.
Yeah, TBS has like 1 million more reach or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like 89 million to like 90 million. So, pretty decent reach on both of those stations.
Yes.
So shouldn't be any change. Actually, I saw something today that AEW Plus subscriptions over on Fight TV have doubled since CM Punk came in.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's that. All right, so let's get into the details of this show. And speaking of CM Punk, this is who we kicked it off with. This is AEW Dynamite for October 27th, 2021, emanating from Boston, Massachusetts. CM Punk versus Bobby Fish kicked it off, and they started with a little bit of back and forth. Bobby actually starts some leg kicks, and he starts working the knee throughout the rest of the match. Punk has brought back the body slam, hits the rising knee. Fish comes back with some knees and a slingshot senton. They go to the outside. Punk actually gets his legs swept out when he stepped out onto the apron following Bobby at one point. Bobby works the knee some more, hits an inverted dragon screw. They go outside again. Fish hits some strikes. Punk fires back with some forearms. Knee to the gut from Bobby. And more work on the knee. Fish sets Punk up on the top. Fish fights off the top. Or he sets Punk up on the top rope and Punk actually fights him off, hits a top rope elbow drop. We get a double down. They start throwing forearms on their knees, working their way to their feet. Fish kicks Punk's leg out from under him. Punk comes back with a leg lariat and swinging neck breaker and a rising knee, short arm clothesline for 2. And Fish catches the leg out of the GTS, hits a dragon screw, hits a sliding lariat. They grapple, and Bobby Fish is going for like a crucifix bomb, but Punk kind of hoists him up onto his shoulders, hits the GTS, but he is slow to cover. And when he goes, he gets the 3, but barely, because Bobby Fish kicked out basically at 2.9, even though it was counted as a 3. I'm not sure what the hell happened right there. Kind of strange.
Yeah, kind of strange. I'm also wondering, when will CM Punk finally wind up losing a match? Because like he's not in the title picture at all,
and he's not in the tournament.
Yeah, he's not in the tournament. But they're still keeping this undefeated thing going. It's a little disappointing, or at least I think it is a little disappointing that Bobby Fish didn't get a little bit stronger of a push coming in, because right now he's sitting at 3-3. So he's got a 500 record.
He has gotten a lot of TV time, considering that he's only been in for like 3 weeks. If he got 6 matches in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So he got quite a lot. There are a few things that may have happened here. One, because CM Punk took so long to go over to the cover, CM Punk might have realized it and told Bobby to kick out, and the ref didn't get the message.
Yep.
Because it took him too long. The other, which could be a possibility, is I think Bobby might have eaten that knee a little hard, and he wasn't totally with it. So just out of instinct, because 99% of the times you get covered, you're kicking out.
Right.
And he just did it.
Yeah.
So that's something that could happen.
It could also be that thing where, remember, Hulk Hogan almost never really ate a clean pin. There was the one where, like, right after the ref hit the 3, he just sort of popped up to still look strong.
But this is Bobby Fish. This isn't Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby Fish isn't going to Bigfoot somebody like that.
Right. I know. I'm just saying, it could be a combination of he was a little loopy, forgot that it was supposed to be the finish, and then, I really don't know, but it wasn't, as obvious of a botched finish as other things I've seen.
Yes. So, maybe someday we'll find out what it actually was, but next up we had Malachi Black.
Speaking of sort of botchy finishes, the sudden end to the I'm forgetting his name, Murder Hawk, Lance Archer.
Yes.
Like the sudden end to that match. I think you had said like he wound up tweaking his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering, like, did they just go ahead and go to the finish right away, or was it supposed to end like that?
No, definitely was not supposed to end like that.
Yeah. Didn't think so.
No, he's posted that he'll be okay. He's posted online about it. So next up we had a video promo from Malachi Black. He says the Nightmare family are lost and they've lost faith in you. I've divided the Nightmare family. I forced you to take measures that you never would have taken before. I made an entire crowd hate you. If you think this is about pinfalls, think again. And just remember, the house always wins.
Good promo.
Yeah.
I am wondering though, because he said like I made you do things that you never would have wanted to do. Like Cody was in a not bull. He was in that dog collar match. Like Cody has done some vicious things before. I don't think he really did anything that vicious against Malachi, unless I'm missing some sort of like pitchfork to the face or a pizza cutter.
No, this whole story felt rushed. If they're going to come back for the third match, it should have been a longer gap between, and they should have told the Cody story longer, because it was like 2 vignettes and then we're to the match. So we had, Arn burning his suit out back, and then the next week we have the Nightmare Family's beating him up in a drill, and that was about it. It's like, okay, yeah. This makes no sense. And like 4 weeks prior, you're laying your boots in the middle of the ring, like threatening to retire. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, this is one of the few times where AEW is not doing it right.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how they should be doing it, but they should be doing it different.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure what they can do to get this back on track. I think it's more of a absence makes the heart grow fonder type of situation at this point. I'm not sure what else they could have possibly done, but they shouldn't have gone to this match so quick, and we should have had an absence of Cody until like after the first of the year. He comes back, and then then he can be a babyface again, and they can get over the we can see where Malachi Black ends up, because they already had started turning on Cody around the second match anyways.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out, okay, is it Malachi's opponents are going to come out on the wrong end and Malachi is just going to be cheered? Or you wait until see where Malachi lands, Cody stays away for 3 months, comes back after the first of the year, then you can have something because he hasn't been there, and then you can gauge the reaction when he comes out before you stick him back with Malachi. That's what I probably would have done.
Yeah.
Next up, we had a squash match, MJF versus Seth Donovan. MJF hits a heat seeker and it's over.
Seth Donovan, the local hero.
Yes, from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Really, this was just to set up him getting on the mic. He says, "Oh, Boston, this place is exactly how I remembered it last time, an absolute shithole. But hey, you're lucky to watch me do what I do best, pinning shoulders to the mat and banging rats." Well, maybe I'm going to skip that second part this week because, I'd rather stick my junk in a blender than your fat women. He calls out Darby for not showing up. He says he doesn't care what happens after Full Gear. You're looking at the future AEW World Champion. Sting's music plays, and then nothing happens. And when it stops, MJF and his cronies are just laughing. Like, you people are all stupid. You thought Sting was actually coming out. And then the lights go out. And then there's a film Darby Noir. Or Darby Film Noir. I don't know what you want to call it. A Darby Noir. And it's of somebody in an MJF mask. He gets beat up by Darby at a concert and put through a table on stage. The lights come on. Sting is in the ring behind MJF and crew, and he takes out Spears with the bat. He takes out Wardlow with the bat. MJF bails to the outside, and he's in like the back corner, and someone behind him is dressed as the Invisible Man, and he unwraps his face covering, and it's Darby in a trench coat. He Spears pushes MJF out of the way. He fights with Darby. Darby throws him into the stairs. He grabs a thumbtacked-laden skateboard from under the ring, hits Wardlow in the back with it, gets on the mic, challenges MJF to a match at Full Gear. Darby Allin's back.
Yes, he is. And then, yeah. So I'm looking at the Full Gear card right now, and yeah, I just realized. Wait a second, MJF isn't in the Eliminator tournament.
Correct.
And they haven't said yet when that diamond ring is, back up for grabs. I think last year it was right around Winter is Coming, wasn't it?
Yes. Somewhere around there. I think it was between... Yeah, it was somewhere around there.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, because, MJF gave Wardlow an accountability buddy. So Wardlow's definitely not happy with MJF. Will Wardlow cost MJF the ring? Will Wardlow win the ring? Or will it just be one of those things that, like Wardlow tosses MJF out and then he eliminates himself to be like, I don't want it. I just don't want you to have it.
Mm-hmm. All types of ways could go with that one.
I'm also thinking that Cody could somehow fit into that diamond ring picture. Where he's saying, like, I'm not going to challenge for the world title.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, win this thing and then, just be a jackass about it.
Did you see the picture of Wardlow's back?
No.
Oh, it's on Twitter. If you just go to Wardlow's Twitter, you'll see a picture of him with the shirt on and all the blood spots, and with the shirt off and all the puncture wounds in his back.
All right, I will take a look.
It's a good one. Next up, we had Tony was with Brit Baker, and he mentions that Brit Baker ran away from a match with Abaddon on the Jericho Cruise. So Tony Khan has made a match with Britt and Abaddon for Rampage. It's going to be a no DQ match. And if Abaddon wins, she gets a title shot.
Yeah, good. As I said in the chat last night, I didn't even realize that the Jericho Cruise had happened or was happening this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in years past, I thought that they had mentioned it, or maybe I was just listening to Talk is Jericho and realized, oh, this thing's happening because he was talking about it for so long. But yeah, interesting that Britt ran away from a match.
Yep. Then we had a really good match. We had Ethan Page versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship, with the TNT Championship on the line and Sammy's membership in the Inner Circle, put up against the Inner Circle being able to choose from American Top Team who is going to be the other three with Men of the Year in the 10-man tag at Full Gear. So Sammy just runs down to the ring and goes right after Page. Hits a jumping knee strike and a dive to the outside. Throws Ethan over the timekeeper's table into the barricade a few times. They get into the ring and the match officially starts. Ethan hits some kicks, hits a big drop kick from Sammy, strikes from Sammy, kicks from Ethan. Sammy hits a back suplex, or kind of like a backdrop release suplex, and he kicked him in the back on the way down, which I don't think I've seen anybody do that before, and it was awesome. Sammy gets crotched on the top rope. Ethan hits a backbreaker across the top turnbuckle. That is one of my favorite backbreakers when people do it.
Yeah, you don't see that one very often.
No, I've only really seen Roderick Strong do that one, and I think that's it. I think I might have seen Sasha do it once.
Yeah, and then I've seen, I forget who it was, where they did almost a brain buster onto the turnbuckle. Similar style, sort of, like drop down thing that just looks brutal. probably isn't as bad as it appears. But
yeah, this is some good flex on that. Turnbuckle. Sammy fights out of an ego's edge, hits a few strikes, hits an enziguri to the back of the head, hits the double springboard cutter, then a Spanish fly in the middle for 2. Sammy does a shooting star press off the top rope to Ethan standing on the floor. Paige blocks a GTH. They exchange a few chops. A couple of slams for 2, and Paige goes to the top. Sammy jumps up. Paige tosses him down, and he gets down, hits a running shoulder, and Paige wants to hit a top rope ego's edge, but Sammy turns it into a Rana when he gets thrown forward, and then he misses a running shooting star press, but then they exchange a little, they grapple a little bit, and he rolls up Ethan Page for the win. So Sammy retains his championship. This is a really fun match.
Yeah, really fun match. And then, of course, the beatdown that then became a promo.
Yes. Paige attacks after the match. Scorpio Sky runs down to join the attack. The Inner Circle then run down, so Men of the Year bail. Jericho grabs the mic and says, well, of course, we got Jackasses of the Year trying to pull an ambush on Sammy after this win. But Scorpio Sky, at least you've beaten Le Champion twice, and I can respect that. But Ethan, the last thing you beat was yourself last night in your hotel room. And I believe there was a beat your meat chant.
Yes, there was.
Stay classy, Boston. I would have been chanting there if I was there too. So
at least sports fans in Boston never threw snowballs at Santa Claus.
But since Sammy won, there will be a 5-on-5 at Full Gear, Inner Circle versus American Top Team, and by the grace of Tony Khan, it's been changed to a Minneapolis street fight. And next week they'll announce who from ATT will have kendo sticks shoved up their ass and made into meatsicles.
Yeah, I'm wondering who from America Top Team it will be. Obviously, the Men of the Year.
Right. I'm assuming it's going to be Men of the Year, Junior Dos Santos, Jorge Masvidal, and then somebody else.
Yeah. I just for some reason thought Cain Velasquez, but I don't think he's with America Top Team.
Yeah, he's not with ATT.
And he's wrestling in Mexico right now.
Something like that.
I wonder if just for the lulz they'll have Paige Van Zandt.
That would be pretty funny. And she would still be able to kill pretty much 80% of the roster anyways. But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. No. I know that the 5th is going to be, it's going to be Dan Lambert. They're going to want to beat the crap out of Dan.
Yes. And then, of course, he'll be protesting about it the whole time.
Right.
But yeah, that's the perfect pick.
Yeah. There's a backstage promo with Eddie Kingston and Brian.
One more thought here. Since it's a street fight, everybody from America Top Team is going to get involved.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, Paige is going to get involved anyway, so, I mean.
Yeah, like everybody's getting involved. But yeah, I think Lambert will be the 5th member.
I wish Inner Circle did have a female member.
Yeah.
There are no,
I'm not sure who it would be, though.
I don't know either. I think Thunder Rosa might fit in with that team.
Yeah.
She'd fit in.
I was thinking either Thunder Rosa or Diamante, but I think Diamante is heel right now.
Yeah, she's a heel. There aren't many stables that have men and women. Really just best friends.
Yeah, and then there's still the question of, is Statlander an official member of Best Friends
right
now?
Right, or just an associate.
Or does she just like hang out with them all the time? Is Wheeler Yuta actually a member?
I mean, he comes out to the best friend's music, so
Yeah, but it could just be that like he doesn't have his own music.
could be. All right, we move on to a backstage promo with Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. This is coming off of the promo that they had during Rhodes to the Top last week after Dynamite, but it was also put out on Twitter and all the other places, where Bryan basically said that, you know, I put in the work all the time and Eddie doesn't. Outside of the ring, he doesn't put in the work. And Eddie starts off, you want to talk about hard work, that I don't work hard. Every morning I have to take a pill just to make sure I don't hurt somebody. I battle depression, which turns to anger, and I'm not looking to get locked up. I'm living my dream, and you need to walk a mile in my shoes before you talk about that. And he says, but I'm done talking, I'm done listening, so say hi to my back. And he leaves. So Bryan is like, that is the Eddie Kingston I want to see. He's the one I want to face in the ring. But I hate to tell you, Eddie, I've been through all that too. There's people all over the country and in the locker room that walk through it every day as well. But they still go out there and put in the work. And I'm not saying you don't work hard in the ring. And you and Moxley are two of the toughest wrestlers I've ever met in my life. But despite all of that, I'm going to go out there and prove that I'm the best, and I'm going to beat you.
I think it's going to be a really good match, and I actually think that both of the semifinal matches could go either way.
The reports I've heard is that they tore the house down. Because it was taped for Rampage.
Oh, I forgot that Rampage was getting taped, but yeah, like the Moxley Cassidy match,
that's next week.
It's leaning towards like Moxley will kill Orange Cassidy, but at the same time, like he's, you know, pulled out wins against other people that everybody thought, oh, they're gonna wind up killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Danielson Kingston. My thinking is, if Eddie wins, he'll face Moxley.
Yep.
If Danielson wins, the other match is a complete toss-up.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be Danielson and Moxley,
which would also be a really good match.
Yes, and it could be kind of a kickoff point of Moxley going heel, because it seems like he's getting a bit.
Yeah, he's leaning that way anyway.
Yeah. And it would make sense if Eddie goes with him to the heel side, because I mean Eddie is such a good heel. So
yeah.
It would make sense if they both turn heel. I mean, it's fine either way. I mean, Broody Moxley is just great, so
yeah.
You can stay just how he is. Tony Schiavone is with the Lucha Bros. They say they have a challenge for FTR. Phoenix says, FTR, we know what you want. We'll put these titles on the line at Full Gear. And Alex says, Lucha Bros say, FTR, you say you're the best. You say you're the greatest. But you have no idea the sacrifices we've made to be tag team champions. We'll put these titles on the line at Full Gear. So we get to see that match again in a pay-per-view this time. I'm guessing it will turn out much differently.
Yes, should turn out much differently. And I'm still just flabbergasted that FTR has the AAA tag titles.
They're going to be going to Mexico to defend those titles soon. Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida in the first round of the TBS title tournament. This is coming back after Deeb prevented Hikaru Shida from getting her 50th win in AEW. This match was really good because Serena Deeb is really good and Shida is quite good as well. And yeah. So they start off with some grappling. Shida hits some mounted strikes and a bunch of kicks. And Deeb starts working the knee, slamming Shida's knee into the ring post a couple times. And then when she grabs her foot to throw it one more time, Shida pulls her into the ring post. Shida hits a second rope outside in suplex. Shida misses a running knee in the corner, and Deeb comes back with a chop block, works the knee. They slap each other a bunch. Enziguri from Shida, uppercuts from Deeb, some forearms from Shida, running knee into the corner, hits a running forearm in the middle. Shida goes up top, hits a missile drop kick, hits a really nice delayed vertical suplex for 2. Hits a, I guess it was a face buster. It was basically a reverse Falcon Arrow for 2. Running knee to the back of the head for 2. Deeb then catches the katana and hits a dragon screw leg whip. Shida kicks Deeb to the outside. She sets up a chair to do her jumping knee, but Deeb tosses it away. But that's okay because Shida comes back and hits a missile drop kick off the ring stairs to the floor. Deeb puts on the figure 4 around the ring post, though. Back into the ring. Shida tries an inside cradle. But Deeb puts on the figure 4. Shida hits a few running knees. Deeb catches one of them, puts on a single leg crab. She drags Shida back into the middle, puts on a reverse figure 4. Shida gets to the ropes. Deeb grabs part of the broken trophy from the last time we saw her. She takes a swing but misses. Shida grabs it. She doesn't end up using it. She gives it to the ref. So while the ref is disposing of it, Deeb pokes her in the eyes, tries a roll up, but she kicks out. They exchange some pin attempts, and then Shida gets one of them for the victory. And Deeb is just pissed off. She chop blocks her after the match, smashes her leg with the chair a bunch of times, puts on the Serenity Lock, and a bunch of refs and other personnel have to come down, including Jerry Lynn, to get her to let go of it. This is a really good match. Interesting how they're going to play it up here, destroying Shida's knee. I'm guessing that's going to come into play and explain why she's going to lose to Nyla Rose. Not that we really needed to see another Shida-Nyla Rose match, but, you know.
Or it explains why she can't face Nyla Rose.
That could be a possibility too, so she just gets pushed through.
Right, so then Rose would either have to beat Deeb or just get a bye.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and also there was that like brief second when Shida had that part of the trophy, and it looked like she was about to use it before just handing it over to Aubrey.
Yep.
Like, you know, I really want to, but I know that I'll just get disqualified.
I thought this was a really good match. I really liked it.
Really good match.
Yep.
I need to look, because that match seemed like it went for a decent amount of time as well.
It went through a commercial, so.
Yeah, I'm curious what the actual time was on that match. I'll see if I can find it.
Sure. Next up, there's Tony Schiavone with Lio Rush and Dante Moran. Dante looks like he's a kidnap victim. Like he is there against his will.
Yeah, and I've also noticed that Dante looks a little bit like a dark-skinned John Cena. Just ever so slightly.
Maybe. I guess I'd have to pay attention. I haven't really looked.
The Shida Deeb match went 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Which was the third longest match. The only 2 longer were CM Punk Bobby Fish that went 13-14, and the 8-man tag main event went 13.
Tony Schiavone is with Lio Rush and Dante, and Leo says this Friday, Mike Sydal has an injury, so no in-ring debut for Leo Rush. They won't be having the tag team match. So Dante Martin will be facing Matt Sydal one-on-one again, and this time Dante is going to beat him. The guy who is more interested in beating him versus teaching him. Well, on Friday, the failed student is going to beat Matt Sydal. So, interesting here. Leo, kind of a snake oil salesman, or I'm not sure what he's trying to do. He seems like a bit of a con man at this point.
A little bit. And I'm glad that he's, presenting himself a little differently than Matt Hardy, but they both have that sort of like big money thing.
Yes,
where they're basically the same character, but they're being portrayed completely differently.
Yeah, I think it sounds like Leo Rush is going to be more of a con man than putting together his own stable and then just chickening out on them and not backing them up sometimes. This sounds like he's taking them for a ride.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see how that plays out. Next up, we had 10 versus Jon Moxley in a title eliminator tournament match. And Moxley is just pissed. He goes down to the ring through the crowd. He actually had to push a fan out of the way. Told him to get the fuck out of the way when he was trying to get into the ring. He gets into the ring. He hits a German suplex. Hits a few stomps right away. Mox forearms 10 to the floor. Throws him into the stairs. He rips open 10's mask. Bites him into the forehead. 10 then gets thrown into the ring post. He comes up bleeding like crazy, which then fires up 10 just for a moment, and then Mox hits the Death Rider and gets the pin. As soon as he does, he just walks off through the crowd and leaves. And 10 was bleeding like crazy. I think that might have been Hardway because it looked like a vertical gash on his forehead above his eye.
Yeah, and of course, as soon as the match was over, there was, the doctor right there looking at him. So, yeah, that probably was Hardway, and I was not expecting that match to go 2 minutes.
We're expecting to go longer than 2 minutes?
Well, before Mox came out and just started whooping on him, I was thinking, Ken's in the Eliminator tournament. He'll probably have like a 5-minute match.
All right. I didn't think it was going to go very long, but that's fine. Next up there was Tony.
I'm just thinking, it's a tournament match. They'll give it a decent amount of time. Nope, I was wrong.
Next up, we had Tony Schiavone with FTR, and FTR says, Tony, we've been waiting a year. We've been waiting over a year. And of course, we're going to accept the challenge from the Lucha Bros. Tully says, we've hit the reset button. Dax says that you guys can flip around all you want, but you're going to have to do something you've never done before, and that's fight. And we're going to fight you, and we're going to beat you. Top guys out.
Yep, good, simple promo. Should be a good match.
Yes. Then we have the promo that we're all talking about, and we'll see where it goes. Cody comes out, mixed reaction. He does the whole shebang coming up through the stage in the middle. But one thing he is not doing, he is not wearing a suit. So,
yeah,
good on him for that part. But,
he's basically wearing a tracksuit.
Yeah. He says, whether or not you believe it, I hear you. I hear online. I hear old wrestling managers yelling at the clouds. I heard you on Saturday when I was with Malachi Black. I underhooked one armed. I underhooked the other, and I hit a Tiger Driver 98. I could have hit a very different move. Everybody assumes he's referring to the pedigree there.
That's what I was thinking.
And he says, but what would have happened? Would I have abused my EVP role, broken the covenant I have between you and I, and gone on to win the world championship? You know why I didn't? Because that would be too easy. Not the matches. Those would be hard. But it's the easy way out. I feel as a fan, you can cheer, you can boo, but if you're going to boo the narrative, boo the true narrative. No one has a problem acknowledging the guy who signs the checks, but don't forget about the guy who built this bank. Very weird phrasing from him on that one.
Yeah, like the guy that built the bank would be Tony Khan's father.
Yes. So I'm not sure that was the right... He could have used a different word other than bank. Because that just didn't work.
Yeah, but I think he's referencing himself. Like,
yes.
Without me, this would not have come together.
Right. And I get the metaphor of Tony signs the checks, so I built the bank around it. But they should have used a different word other than bank. I don't know what he could have used, what he could have said, but bank was the wrong word to use.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of wrestling that they'll call, the ring their yard. Like, this is my yard, blah, blah, blah. He could have said, like, I built this house. Like, I'm the cornerstone of this building.
Yes, something along those lines. Anyways, he says...
And people would have known what he meant. But, yeah, referring to himself as the person that built the bank.
Yep. He says, I'll put myself in your shoes. You need to put yourself in mine. He tosses his Jordans out into the crowd. He takes his shoes off and throws them out into the crowd. He says, I grew up in front of you. I debuted at 20 years old. No knee pads, no muscles. I got a wife that's too hot for me. I got a brother that's a Hall of Famer. Dustin Rhodes, he's probably better than me. I have a daughter I don't deserve, and a father that even if I lived to be 300 years old, I would never be able to leave behind a legacy that he did. So the easy way out is not the way. I will not turn, and the reason is, I know this might sound like pandering, but I love you guys way too much. I've loved you my entire life. So if anybody thought I got a little Hollywood, my eyes weren't where they should have been, I apologize. I apologize to all the people in the Nightmare family. He calls out Lee Johnson, Brock Anderson, Red Velvet, my own brother. And then he goes over to Arn and he says, if I've never told you this, it's an honor to be in the ring with you. And I apologize. You were right. And then Andrade El Idolo gets on the mic and we hear, Cody, Cody, Cody. Who do you think you are? These people don't like you. The people don't like me, but the difference is, I don't care about the people. Cody, you make stupid choices, and the first is that stupid tattoo, which I thought was awesome, which got a huge pop. Second is, you got in my business. Look at me. I am Andrade El Idolo, but if, and then he gets into the ring, you want, I make you my little bitch. The lights go out. Lights come back on. Malachi Black is standing in the ring as well. Spits the black mist at Cody. They beat up Cody and Arn. Then Pac runs out. He low bridges Andrade. Andrade falls out of the ring. He hits a pump kick to Black. And then Andrade comes in and he takes out Andrade with a drop kick to the side of the head. And then Pac mocks Malachi Black by doing the springboard backflip and then sitting cross-legged down in the middle of the ring. And throwing up the double birds at him as well.
Yeah, and then right after this, they announced a match that I don't remember what it was. And JR called Andrade Andre.
Yes. So anything about this before we get on running down the card for the next 2 shows?
Other than like just being utterly confused about what Cody was actually really talking about the man that built the bank, and I understand, like, he's not going to turn heel, but it sounds as though they're going to let the fans push him heel. Yeah, I'm still so confused. And then, like, I know that Andrade and Pac have beef, and then Malachi and Cody, and now they're all intertwined. I'm still just confused about the whole Cody storyline.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want me to be confused.
Right. I don't think they do either. So we're going to have to see how they decide to play this out. Andrade in this segment I thought was excellent. Obviously he speaks a bit slower because his English is a bit rusty. But I understood everything he said, and just the cadence that he delivered it in, I think made it even more menacing, and I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got great delivery.
Yes. And it's just going to get better now that, they're actually having him cut promos. Next, they run down the card for Rampage this Friday. It's going to be Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston in the Eliminator tournament match. Dante Martin versus Matt Sydal. And then Brit Baker versus Abaddon in a no DQ match. Abaddon gets a title shot if she wins in that match. Then they run down Dynamite for next week. We have 3 matches so far announced. It's going to be Andrade El Idolo versus Cody Rhodes. This is where JR called him Andre. And okay. Jamie Hayter versus Anna Jay for the TBS title tournament. And Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy in the Eliminator title Eliminator tournament. So next Rampage looks good, and Dynamite is so far looking pretty good.
Yeah, and that they're going to wind up setting up at least 1, if not 2 more matches on Rampage.
Yes. So we'll probably have the rest of the card as after Friday is over.
Yeah.
Then we go on to the main event of the evening, and this is Dark Order versus the Super Elite. So we had John Silver, Stu Grayson, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno versus Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks. Since this is kind of the Halloween episode, everybody came dressed up. Silver comes out dressed as Bambi, as he mentioned he said he would be on Dynamite last week. Colt Cabana comes out dressed as Brandon Cutler with the cold spray, which was wonderful. Everybody loved it. Evil Uno is dressed up as a cowboy, presumably Hangman Page. And Stu Grayson is dressed up as Kratos from God of War, the video game series.
I was wondering what he was dressed up
as. From a video game series. The Elite come out, and they're all dressed as Ghostbusters. And I wrote this. Brandon is dressed up as the Marshmallow Man. And Nakazawa is dressed up in a big big blow-up baby costume that says Bay Bay on the front. Which I thought was
fun. And don't forget, there was also 2 members, presumably of the Dark Order, that were in horse costumes, like the front end and the back end of a horse.
Yes, but they all went back after before the Elite came out.
Yeah, I really like the spot where Evil Uno jumped up onto the back of the horse and like rode it for a second before getting off.
I missed that part.
Yeah, it was during the entrance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured it was, but I just happened to miss it.
Yeah, he just like very briefly, and it was like off to the side when it happened. But yeah, that was funny.
Well, it's funny because not too much later, Evil Uno ends up riding Matt like a horse. So Silver and Cole start it off. Silver pushes down Cole a bunch of times, hits a few kicks, hits a headbutt. Uno tagged in, which gets a cowboy shit chant, which I thought was great. Omega comes in. He's still wearing one of the proton packs. Evil Uno comes in for a splash in the corner, but Kenny turns around so the proton pack is facing out. He splashes into the proton pack. Uno rides Matt Jackson like a horse. They get the heat on Stu for quite some time. Stu walks across the Bucks' shoulders and then hits a Rana to Kenny to get a tag over to Colt. Colt comes in, hits everybody, makes Matt give Nick a DDT. Cole breaks up a Superman pin, flying apple to Cole from Colt. Silver tagged in. He goes nuts, running around, hitting everybody, running pump kick to the back of the head of Nick. But then he eats a super kick party, Snapdragon suplex, super kick party face buster combo. Grayson breaks up the pin. Everyone runs through, hitting everybody with something. Matt misses Stu and ends up taking out the ref. So then the Elite low blow everybody in the Dark Order, and then they make a proton pack pile. They splash all of Dark Order in the middle with the proton packs. Then they make a pile of proton packs, and they power bomb Colt Cabana onto the pile. And then the other guys from the Dark Order run down, and they start beating up the Elite. The ref is still down at this point. One of them is dressed as a horse. He gets in the ring, and he's trying to... his hands are down at his side, and you can see he's trying to tell them something, but they just beat the crap out of the horse, and they give him a quadruple BTE trigger, and then when they unmask him, it's Brandon Cutler. He is duct taped up, and he couldn't tell them that it was him. And then all the rest of the Elite are taken out, except Matt. He is standing in the ring. Behind him is the Stay-Puft Marshmallow Man, and he removes his hood, and it is Adam Hangman Page, and the crowd popped so loud. He takes out Matt. Stu hits a moonsault on Adam Cole and Nick. Page hits a dead eyes to Kenny, which then gives Silver the time to hit a spin doctor on Matt, and John Silver pins Matt Jackson for the win. Dark Order win here, and the Elite saunter off as Page and the Dark Order all celebrate with some beers. This was great. I didn't. Yeah. I know I should have, but I did not see, as I wrote down earlier, Brandon Cutler is in the Marshmallow Man until the horse came down. Once the horse came down, I'm like, oh, Brandon Cutler's in the horse. He's gonna get beaten up.
Yeah, same. And one thing that mildly irritates me, the Superman pin attempt should not have even been counted at all.
Because he was under the rope.
Cabana was under the rope.
Yeah.
And then I forget who it was. Right there at the end, they had to grab Knox and like flip him over so that he could even see the pin because he was still knocked out. Yeah.
I missed what Matt hit him with. Did he super kick him or did he lariat him?
I don't remember.
Because I looked away right when that happened, so I wasn't expecting it. I didn't go back to look.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I just think it's hilarious that pro wrestling refs are just made of glass, and like the slightest bump, they fall down and they're out for like 5 minutes.
But
But yeah, this was just a super fun match.
yes. So that was the end of it, and we have Rampage tomorrow night. But overall, I thought this show was really fun. It flew by. Like, I know I was getting tired, but then I looked up. I'm like, oh, it's 9:30. Holy crap! I did not expect it to be so quick, especially because we had 2 like squash matches in here, and then we had some really good matches. Ethan Page, Sammy Guevara, and Hikaru Shida, Serena Deeb, both really good matches. So that kind of helped the first hour and a half move along. Punk I don't think we touched too much on Punk versus Bobby Fish about how I actually. What I thought about the match, because we actually talked about the finish a lot more. I mean, so far, CM Punk's matches have not blown me away. So that's been I don't know if I just have too high of expectations from Punk or what's going on. So far, all of his matches have been like, yeah, okay, they're matches.
Yeah, like none of them have been bad.
No.
But none of them are, like
great to excellent.
You've got to you've got to like tell all your friends, go out and watch this.
Right.
It's not a match that you'd go back and rewatch because it was a really good match.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It could just be the 7 years away. Maybe he just hasn't caught up, or I don't know. I don't know who's putting together his matches or who's kind of like the agent on them. I know there's not a ton of agenting done on AEW. I mean, there is some, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm also curious because I went and looked at the Full Gear card. They are showing a tag match between the team of Malachi and Andrade versus Cody and Pac. I don't recall this being put together.
Yeah, Pac came down to save Arn and Cody when Malachi and Andrade were beating him up.
I understand, like,
how announced
these men are intertwined, but like them saying this match is happening, like that, I don't recall at all.
I don't think they have.
Did this come out on Twitter?
I mean, it might have, but
or is this something that got leaked? I really don't know here.
I mean, I guess, where are you seeing the card?
I'm looking at Wiki.
Okay, so it might be an assumption that that's the case. I don't know.
Because
there should be a source to it.
Wikipedia is generally really good about removing things that aren't accurate.
Is there a citation for it?
I am not seeing a citation.
Oh, well, then I am not sure then.
Yeah, and there have been edits after that. So
okay.
let me just look at the Twitters real quick.
Sure, yeah, I'm scrolling through the Twitter right now, and I'm back 9 hours ago on AEW's, and still don't see anything. So, nope, I don't see anything so far. Just Andrade versus Cody for Dynamite next week, and I'm back 19 hours now. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm wondering if it got announced during Rhodes to the Top.
No, because the finale was last weekend, so there was no Rose to the Top after Dynamite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. They could just be assuming that that's the case, but no citation, then I don't know.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Really confused.
Overall, good show. Looking forward to Rampage tomorrow night. I mean, everybody said that Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston was an excellent match. I didn't hear much about Dante Martin Sydal or Britt versus Abaddon. So we'll see. Oh, actually, what I did hear about Britt versus Abaddon is it involved thumbtacks at some point. So
okay, yeah. Well, it was no DQ.
Yeah, it was.
And Britt is the queen of hardcore. What's the title that she's given herself?
I forget.
Oh, the hardcore icon.
Yeah,
I think.
All right, so I think that is about it. Anything else you want to touch on AEW before we wrap it up here? Actually, I'll just say this right now. We're going to try and do the year 2 in review for Dynamite / AEW next weekend, either the 6th or the 7th. We're working on schedules. Hopefully we can get everybody back from last year. And now I got to go through last year's to write down everybody's predictions to see how they went. The first one that I've come across was correct from Dave. He was one of the ones who threw out the first prediction early in the show, and he's been right so far.
Okay. What was the prediction?
The next champions, because at the time when we did the show, it was still Moxley. He predicted the next champ was going to be Omega, and the next champ after that was going to be Hangman. Okay. So he could be right on both accounts in a couple weeks, but next weekend we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything, or you good?
I'm good.
All right, cool. So thanks everybody for tuning in to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live on Twitch and on YouTube. You can follow the links in the show notes for that. I don't think we have any New Japan stuff until next weekend either. Power Struggle is actually next weekend on the 6th. So Trey and I will probably be talking about it either on the 7th or on Monday the 8th. We'll have to work that out. But there was a junior tag team match 2 days ago, which had some implications. So we'll be talking about that one as well. If you want to follow us on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1 with the number 1, link to our Discord is in the show notes as well. And Darryl, you can follow him at Darryl W. Perry. His info is in the show notes. So for Darryl W. Perry, my name's Eric LaRoche. You've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.